Captain Foley back with you again today, and it's time for a Captain Foley channel exclusive. I haven't done a lot of these, I've been meaning to, but there's a lot more that I'm interested in than just Star Trek. And I know, looking around, it doesn't look like it. However, Transformers, Sherlock Holmes, swords, ancient Egypt, there's a whole bunch that I'm interested in that I want to get to making videos on this channel. But during one of our lives the other night, something came up which we started talking about a little bit, and that was GoBots. Trying to remember the names of all the GoBots. We got Leader 1, we got Psykill, we've got Coptor, we've got a few other ones as well, which we couldn't remember the names of. And that got me thinking, I got some GoBots stuff. And it was great to have those synapses firing again and actually think about those old franchises that we grew up with. So I'm going to do a little bit of a video today talking about this book, Operation Hoax, which some of you might have had growing up. I do have this one, I have a few other ones as well, so we're going to look at those separately, do a read-through of it, see the pictures, get the brain working, get those memories firing, and, you know, just enjoy some nostalgia. So, anyway guys, let's get right into it. So yeah, this particular book is one of the hardcover ones. On the back it actually says, more action, more adventure, more excitement, golden heroic champions, full-color hardcover books at an affordable price, featuring your favorite action toy and animation characters. GoBots, mighty robots, mighty vehicles, when evil GoBots threaten the planet Gobotron. Great name. Guardian GoBots pursue them to Earth, which is to serve as a base to conquer Gobotron and the rest of the universe. Able to turn from mighty robots into mighty vehicles and back again, the GoBots present a challenge to their Earth allies. Readers will get a fascinating look at what happens when ruthless designs enter the world of high tech. And there's got a bunch of the other books in this series, some of which I have, but this is the only hardcover one I have of this. So anyway, so here you go, the cover, Operation Hoax, and we're going to get into it. We're going to read it, or I'm going to read it, and you guys are going to get to see the pictures and just enjoy. This is like a read-along or a story time with Captain Foley, so let's just check it out. So here's the book, and yeah, we're just going to get into it and check it out. So there you got a nice shot of the mobile command center, the AT-AT for the GoBots. I don't remember a lot of these guys' names. We'll uncover them as we read the book. But there's Scooter, and yeah, this is Operation Hoax here, as you can see. So, alright, start it off here. High above the southwestern desert, the Guardian GoBots in their command center have followed the renegade GoBots spacecraft thruster. Now, as they approached a lonely mountain airstrip, Scooter shouted to Leader 1 and Turbo, "Look, there's Thruster, and that building must be the factory." The Guardians had learned of the Renegade's secret factory in the mountains. The Renegades were producing a line of sensors there that they planned to use to control the people on Earth, the GoBots on Gobotron, and finally, the entire universe. The Guardians had to stop them. Hiding the command center where it couldn't be seen from the factory and changing into their vehicle forms, Leader 1, Turbo, and Scooter advanced on Thruster. Leader 1 and Turbo aimed some well-placed blasts, leaving the craft unable to fly. That's some strange wording there. Changing back into their robot forms, Leader 1 and Turbo headed towards the factory while Scooter stayed behind to further disable Thruster. "Let's destroy those sensors," said Leader 1, "before the Renegades ship them to the lab of that traitor Braxis and put them to use." Crashing through the great double doors into the sensor storage area, the Guardians opened fire on Psykill, Crasher, and Coptor, who were supervising several robotic workers. The Renegades quickly returned the heavy fire. The Guardians were driven off before they could blast the sensors. Leader 1 gave the order to retreat to the command center. For fear of leaving the sensors unguarded, the Renegades did not pursue them. Turbo, ever ready to face all odds, said unhappily, "We should have stayed and fought them." Leader 1 tried to calm him. "Sometimes it's smarter to get away. The Renegades have a long way to go before they can use the sensors. We'll stop them, I promise you. Now let's contact Matt, Nick, and AJ at AstroCorps and report what has happened. We'll go pick them up we can use their help. After the Guardians had gone, the Renegades raced to the airstrip to inspect the thruster, finding it badly damaged from the Guardians' attack. Psykill knew he could not fly it without repairs. "Unless I can get the sensors to Braxis," he muttered. "They're just useless piles of scrap." Thinking fast, he came up with a plan. "I'll use the truck we have stored away for emergencies," he said, with an evil grin. Psykill radioed Professor Braxis and told him of the damage to thruster. "We want no more delays in getting those sensors to you, so we'll bring them by truck." "No! Carrying those sensors overland is too dangerous," shouted Braxis. "Put them in the mountain vault. Besides, I don't have time to use them now. I've been called to Washington for a special conference. But if you can get the truck here by tonight with the damaged thruster parts, I might have time to fix them before I leave. Then you can use it to transport the sensors here when I return. But I have to warn you, today is the 4th of July, a national holiday that celebrates freedom. There will be great crowds and parades, and confusion that can work to your advantage, or the other way around." Psykill enlisted one of the robot factory workers to serve as the truck driver of the huge tractor trailer that would take them to Braxis' lab. The three renegades would hide in the trailer portion, where they could both control the driver and check out the landscape without being spotted. The renegades didn't suspect that Scooter knew of their plan. He had tapped into the radio frequency used by Braxis and the renegades. The Guardians, along with Astro Corps Captain Matt Hunter and cadets Nick Burns and AJ Foster, boarded the command center. "Let's trail them for a time," said Leader 1. "Then we'll decide when to strike, and strike hard. If we keep Thruster disabled, half the battle has been won." The Renegade's truck roared down the highway. By nightfall, Psykill figured they would be safe at Braxis' laboratory. Psykill was confident he had outsmarted his arch-enemy Leader 1. Cars had passed them along the road without any suspicious stares, but the Renegades didn't know that the Guardians were shadowing their every move. From inside the command center, Leader 1 saw the Renegades turn off the road onto a high cliff. What were they up to? He knew they were fighting time and had to get the thruster parts to Braxis that night. Then he saw why the Renegades had stopped. From a cliff, Psykill could see the road winding down into a valley where the road nestled between two mountain ridges. The road they were on was the only way through the long, narrow town, and the 4th of July parade was blocking their way. Oh, they're going to be stopped by a 4th of July parade. At first, Psykill saw only two possible solutions. He could ram through town and risk damage to thruster, or he could wait until the parade ended. But then Braxis might not have time to do the repairs, and the Renegades would be stranded without their craft. Psykill suddenly spotted a float on a deserted side street at the edge of town. A plan to capture the float came quickly to mind. The figures were as big as the Renegades. Luckily, Psykill thought, Earth people make their heroes larger than life-size. He can put on a costume and pass through safely, and there must be some place to hide the damaged parts of Thruster. The Renegades sped toward the float behind a smokescreen that was mistaken for part of the celebration. Quickly overwhelming the driver who was inside the float, they replaced him with their own robot driver. Then Psykill and Crasher loaded the thruster parts into the space below the float's platform. Copter removed the figures from the float and dumped them behind a nearby warehouse. As the Renegades passed through the town, crowds cheered wildly. Dressed as George and Martha Washington and a Minuteman, they were the hit of the parade. They tried to look dignified and noble as they performed their robot movements to make the figures look lifelike. Meanwhile, the command center had landed just outside the other end of town. Turbo was sent to keep an eye on the Renegades and make sure they didn't harm anyone as they passed through town. Parked in his race car form on a side street, he thought he was safe from the watchful glances of the Renegades. But suddenly, Crasher spotted Turbo. Overcome with rage, she forgot all about the Renegades' plans. The crowd panicked as Crasher turned into her race car form and zoomed off the float to attack Turbo. Turbo! With Crasher in hot pursuit, Turbo put on speed. Turbo was beginning to worry that Crasher would catch up when she saw a chance to escape. I'll crash, bash, and trash you. Taking advantage of a bend in the road to avoid being seen by Crasher, Turbo quickly threw himself behind an enormous rock. Crasher, who figured Turbo was just up ahead, zoomed right past his hiding place. After traveling at top speed through the mountains for half an hour, Crasher realized that Turbo must have hidden from her, and she doubled back to town. Crasher set her sights on joining her fellow renegades. After a couple of hours, she caught up with them. Although they knew the Guardians were onto them, they had no choice but to try to reach Braxis's lab. If the Guardians tried to tangle with them, they were ready. Stationed along a lonely stretch of road, the Guardians and their Earth friends waited for the renegades. Scooter said, I'll make them turn back without a fight by projecting a special hologram. Don't worry, I'll take care of everything. Scooter's hologram was a disaster. He had wanted a picture of Braxis being pursued by police and waving the renegades away. Instead, true to the patriotic spirit of the day, he produced a picture of General George Washington leading the Continental Army, but Scooter's mistake worked. Startled by the sight of Washington leading hundreds of soldiers, the renegades came to a sudden stop. The renegades jumped down off the float, changed into their vehicle forms, and headed back in the direction they came from. As the Guardians closed in behind them, Crasher fired energy bolts back at them. One of Crasher's shots hit a shed containing fireworks meant to be used later that night for the holiday celebration. Huge balls of flame and a crazy quilt of fireworks streaked across the sky. In the confusion, the renegades escaped into the darkness. Psykill immediately began to make new plans for his evil conquest. The renegades have escaped, said Leader 1, but we will return to their factory and destroy those sensors. They won't be using them to conquer Earth or Gobatron. We pledge ourselves to the defense of freedom everywhere in the universe, said Matt. Let anyone who dares to try to enslave people beware, said Leader 1. So there you go. That is Operation Hoax. Now, I know I kind of stumbled over some words there. I apologize. I do have dyslexia. I've edited some of it out, but I'll try to do a better job reading next time. It all depends on the day. Anyway, let me know if this is something you guys want to see more of. I do have a lot more of these books. It is a nice stroll down memory lane, especially if you had this as a kid. So, yeah, I mean, let me know in the comments section. If you had the book, if I'd forgot all about the Crasher figure. I forgot her name. I had the toy, though. So, I mean, it is kind of cool to see these things back. And to, if you don't have it anymore, to like these spark memories in you from when you were a kid. So hopefully that's what this video has done. Like I said, let me know, and thank you for watching. So let's get to the outro now. So there you have it, guys, a nice trip down memory lane with some stuff you might remember as a kid. I'm going to be doing more of these. I got some Transformers books like this. I've got more GoBots as well. I wasn't as into GoBots as Transformers. I did have quite a few growing up. I had the special edition Leader 1, though, the blue one. I never had the actual real Leader 1, and I always wanted them. And then there were the bigger ones. Warpath was one that I had that I really liked. That's the Apache helicopter, the deluxe series or whatever. And my friend Nick had the evil scientist car that turned into like a futuristic car. So anyway, I fond memories of GoBots. Not quite as good as Transformers. Came out before Transformers. But anyway, there we are. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and leave a comment down below if you had this book, if you had any GoBots. What are your memories of the GoBots, and how do they compare to, like, let's say, Transformers for you guys? It's just, I want to look at nostalgia things on this channel, so hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel as well as Trekyards, and check out other videos by me as well. So until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley. See you next time.